Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at Death Valley Highs and Lows. This is an 18 card game published by Button Shy Games. Now, in this game, you're going to be going through the desert and you're going to be trying to create an epic journey in there. And you're also going to be trying to collect cards into your scrapbook. This game, it can be played 1 to 2 players, and it is a lot of push your luck and a lot of cunning skill to outwit your opponent there or AI. So let's go ahead down the table. I'm going to show you how to play Death Valley Highs and Lows. And then we're going to come back and give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is Death Valley Highs and Lows. And this game here, you're going to be playing through the deck. You're going to be going until you get to the last card here. And then the game is going to end. And you're going to be trying to score points in a couple different ways throughout this game. And I'm going to primarily show you the 2-player game, but also notice that there is a solo variant to this game here. So in this game, you're going to need to have room here. So for setup for the game, you're going to shuffle up this deck and you're going to place the top card face up. You're going to need a row here, and this is for the 2-player game. Row for the journey for the first player, row for the scrapboard for the first player, row for the journey for the second player, and row for the scrapbook for the second player. And off to the side, they're discard piles. Now, in this game, you're going to get 2 different choices that you can do on your turn. You can either travel or rest. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to have cards here without busting in your journey row and cards here in your scrapbook row. Now, what you're going to try to do in this game is you're trying to score points. If they're in your journey row, you're going to be able to score these stars in here. And that's very valuable, but you'll also be able to score the bottom part if there's any too. However, if they end up in your scrapbook, you won't be able to get these stars. You'll only get any points that are in the text down below here, which is important to know. Also, some of these cards have negative points. So they'll have these little steer icons on them here, and that'll give you negative points. And that doesn't matter if it's in your journey or in your scrapbook, doesn't matter. Now, what are you going to be doing in this game? Well, let's go ahead and show you how it'll work out. So it's my turn. I can pick either to journey or rest. Now, resting is going to move a card from my journey to my scrapbook. Now, I don't have anything in my journey, so I'm going to either pick this card here, or I'm going to pick the top card from the deck. Couple things of interest on these cards. There's going to be how many points it's going to be. So this is a pretty valuable card here to be in my journey. However, there's 6 cards of this symbol in the deck here. So I'll know that there's a lot of this card, so it's going to be really easy to bust. And I'll explain busting in a second, but that's going to be how many cards on the deck, what this for this symbol, and this is going to be if there's stars up here or the steers, how many points I would gain or lose. And the stars only count if they're in your journey, not in your scrapbook. Now down here is going to be the special effect, and this one's going to be before I rest. So if I want to rest, I have to fire off any of these before you rest. And this one is shuffle this card and a card in your opponent's journey back into the deck. So this card can never really be in my scrapbook at all. It's always going to be shuffled in, and this is a card that I may want to try to keep in my journey. The other option I can do is I say I don't want it this one because I know there's a ton of these, and I don't want to really start off with that. I could actually take the first card from the top of the deck and place it into my journey. Now the opponent gets to go. They'll be able to do the same thing. They'll either pick this or top one. Let's say they wanted to pick this top one here. Comes back to me. I'm going to take a look at my card here, and this one has a pyramid peak here. At the end of the game, I can choose any one of these and gain 2 points for each card of that hazard type hidden in your scrapbook. So with this, I'm going to probably want to put more cards out because we're going to get into rest. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another card here. All right, so I'm going to check to see if I bust, which I don't. And that's meaning if I have 3 or more symbols that are the same, and it doesn't matter if it's here or in my scrapbook. If I do, I will bust, but I haven't yet, so I'm not going to show you what that does. It'll come to this player here. They're not going to want to pick up this card right now, so they're going to pick up this card. Comes back to me. I'm going to do the same thing. Uh-oh. Now it's the other player. They go here. All right. So it comes back to me, and I'm close to busting here. So if I gain another one of these symbols, which is pretty likely, I'm going to bust. Now, I'm going to probably think about resting. Now, there's some when checking if you bust, ignore this card directly to the right of this card, if any. So that actually is pretty nice. If you hide this card, you may move a card from your scrapbook to your journey. That's pretty powerful too. However, I'm going to rest. So I check to see if there's any rest effects, but there isn't. So I'm going to move this down here. Then I can take any number of cards and place them underneath. Now these cards, they don't matter anymore. The only thing they might matter for is the card itself, which is going to be this card right here. At the end of the game, choose. Get +2 for each hidden under this scrapbook. Oh no, wait a minute. These guys here don't count towards that, so I'm not going to want to rest. So this one says that this one won't count towards busting, which is good. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. All right, so now that matches with that symbol. I may still want to tuck these under because I don't want to bust, but I'm going to push my luck a little bit farther. This player here is looking at their cards here, and they have, at the start of your turn, you may hide one of your animals underneath this card or swap a hidden animal with this card in your journey. So that's pretty interesting and pretty useful, actually. As your action, you may take a hidden card from your scrapbook and add it to your journey, which is pretty cool too. And then we have the kangaroo rats here, +2 points for each of your rows without water in it. So that's pretty good. Well, I'm still looking pretty darn good, so they're going to go ahead and they're going to grab another card. Now they have 2 of these, so they can be in trouble. So it's my turn here. You know what? I am going to rest. I don't have any rest things. I'm going to just put all 3 of these under here. So sort of just clean up my board here. And that's rest. And you don't have to put all of them under there. Anything that you don't pick can go get shuffled back into this deck here. So let's say, you know what, the only one that really gives me points is this one. So I'll place it under here. These ones here, I might say, you know what, I don't want any reds. Let's make my opponent's life difficult, and we'll go ahead and shuffle those in. All right. So that's it. Those are the 2 actions you can take. You're going to continue on until you get down to 1 card in this deck here. And at that point, the game will end. And you're going to total up your scores here. So what you're going to look at is for your top row here, you're going to score any points that are stars here. So you'll get so here, I will get a ton of points. I'll get 8, 10 points. So that's really cool. And then I'll score anything that's underneath here. On the bottom row here, I'll score whatever points that I could get from this bottom section here, but not the top. So if this was down here, I'd get no stars for it. In addition to that, any of these that are either in the top or bottom row, doesn't matter, I will get a negative point for those. And that is going to be scoring. And the person with the most points is going to win. If there's a tie for any reason, the person who busted the fewest times is going to win. Now let's go ahead back a little bit. I'm going to show you what happens if you bust. So let's say I have this going. Don't pay attention to what's on the cards here because sometimes they can circumnavigate busting. But let's say I end up taking the top card from the deck. So let's reset this up here. And I end up saying, okay, well, now, you know what? I don't want this card because this is a sun. And I have 2 suns, and that will make me bust. So instead, I'm going to grab the top card from the deck. Oh, no, it's a sun. I bust. What happens? Well, you don't want to bust because this is pretty devastating in the game. This card becomes discarded, so it'll go off to the right here, and then all these other cards get shuffled back into here. And then it'll be the next player's turn. Now, Couple other things to note that are important in this game is adjacency. So adjacents are going to be orthogonically adjacent. So this card is adjacent to this card is adjacent to this card. However, this card is not adjacent to this card. So that's one thing in there. Also, when you're placing out these cards, you go left to right. So when I'm placing out this card here, it goes left. When I put my first card in the scrapbook, it'll go to the far left. The next one will go here, and so on and so forth. So they stay in a grid pattern. So that's the other two things to note. But that's going to be how you're going to be playing Death Valley highs and lows. However, there's a variant that you can play, which I think is really good. And in this variant here, if you want to really press your luck and give up a little control, try this variant out here. When a player travels in this variant, they may choose to add their face-up card to their opponent's journey instead of their own. When checking for busting, check to see if either player busts. So with this variant, which I think is really good, I can say on my turn, so I can look at what you got here. And let's set up a scenario here where I have 2 waters, right? And I gain a card. We're going to cheat. We're going to gain a card. Actually, there's not enough waters. There's 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're all out. So let's say the next turn, it's the opponent's turn. And they're like, well, I don't want this. I'm going to grab this card. You know what? You have 2 waters. I'm going to put it over here. And now on the opponent's turn, we're going to check and see if their opponent is actually busted, which I did. So that'll happen. So that's the variant on there. And I think the variant is actually really good. So I highly recommend after your first play that you play with the variant. And if you play the solo mode, it uses the variant. So you have to play with the backseat driver variant, which is what that was called, if you play the solo mode. And with the solo mode, it's going to be very simple. You're going to have the same idea for the game here. So you're going to have the same setup. Setup takes like 3 seconds. We're set up. Okay. You're going to start, and you're going to play against an AI's journey. So basically what you're going to do is on your turn, we're playing with the back seat rules too, by the way. So you can pick a card and put it on the AI if you want. But I'm going to pick a card, place it on there. Then the AI is going to take their turn. And the way the AI works is on each of the turns, it's going to be based on the face-up card in the desert, which is called the desert here. The AI is going to check for a bust. If that card would bust you or the AI, the card goes to you. So the AI doesn't want to bust, but so it'll send it off to you. If you bust, it'll give it to you. So no hazard match. So it doesn't. Otherwise, you're not going to have any busts. So no hazard match. So none the AI doesn't have them. It's going to add the card to the AI's journey. The third thing they can do is there's a hazard match. Otherwise, that card matches the type of the AI cards, and add the top card of the deck to the AI's journey. So if the AI has this, get some more out here, and this matches, it's going to get the top card of the journey, and that's going to take a look at it. And if it busted, I would have gave it to this opponent or you instead. And that's how the A is going to run. You're going to go until you get to the last card of the deck, just like a normal game. And you're going to then score up. Now, one thing to mention is the AI ignores abilities. It doesn't care about the abilities. It only really cares about the symbols on here. So scoring your cards as in the base game, but the AI gains 1 point for each star or skull in its journey. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to lose points for the skulls. And they score the points equal to the positive numbers in their scoring abilities. So in some of these scoring abilities, they're going to be like 2 points or negative 2 points. It'll gain the positive ones and never negative. And you're going to be looking to beat the AI. Now, you can increase the difficulty of the solo mode here. You could play with one or both of these modifiers in here. The AI scores 1 point per card in each discard pile, which is going to be very important. Unless the AI busts more than you, it wins regardless of the score. So that is going to be increasing the difficulty for the solo mode. So again, that's going to be how you play Death Valley, highs and lows. Let's go ahead back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the game. All right, so that was Death Valley highs and lows. Now, this game here is going to be, I think, best played 2-player. Now, that's not saying the solo element of this game isn't any good. And also keep in mind that I don't really play solo games. The most solo games I play are button shy games because I think they make the best solo games. But in essence, I shy away from solo games. So that is a very valid point to keep in mind when I say that I like this game the most as 2-player. I think this game shines at 2-player, and I think this game is great at that level. I also feel that this game should always be played where you can affect your opponent by placing the cards in their journey instead of yours if you want to. I think that is after your first game, that is something you should jump into immediately and play. The game has a lot of replayability, even with these just 18 cards. Also, this is super portable and easy to take anywhere with you. And you just, when you have some downtime, just pull it out and play a 2-player game and have lots of fun. So that is really good for that too. And if you're just looking for a 2-player game that you can play occasionally, that is a lot of fun and doesn't take a lot of time to play, Death Valley is definitely going to be up your alley, and I would highly recommend it for you. Just overall, great game. You saw how to play run. If that actually intrigued you or you like that, I would highly recommend picking this up. The other thing nice about this is there's a lot of game in these little tiny wallets. They're highly transportable and they're inexpensive too. So when I go out, I can actually take like 40 games in a little case there, and we can pick between them and play them. So I really like this game. I really think that they did a really good job on it. And again, if you're looking for a great little 2-player game that you could just highly portable, you can play anytime. It doesn't take very long to play. Maybe even do best 2 out of 3 or whatnot. Death Valley is going to be up your alley, and that's my thoughts on it. So thank you for watching.